The City of Melbourne respectfully acknowledges the traditional owners of the land we govern, the Wurundjeri, Woiwurrung and Boonwurrung peoples of the Eastern Kulin, and pays respect to their elders past, present and emerging. We acknowledge and honour the unbroken spiritual, cultural and political connection the Wurundjeri, Boonwurrung, Dja Dja Wurrung, Taungurung and Wadawurrung peoples of the Eastern Kulin have to this unique place for more than 2,000 generations. We are committed to our reconciliation journey because at its heart, reconciliation is about strengthening relationships between Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal peoples for the benefit of all Victorians. Sorry for the delay in getting started, but we've got about 40 odd people online now, so we'll get cracking. I'm Lisa McCarthy, the Acting Manager of the Partnerships team here at City of Melbourne. Really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come and hear a little bit about our event partnership program for 2024. We will go through the webinar. I will do quite a bit of speaking, so apologies in advance if you get sick of my voice, and a few other members of the team will jump in and speak as well. So the key topics that we will cover today is an overview of the partnership program itself, any program changes from last year, priority considerations for funding, the allocation of funds, market research and visitation data, sustainability and waste management, event permits and POPE permits, post-event reports, other avenues for support, and we will finish with some question time. The chat function is live throughout this session, so if you do have any questions that you think will be relevant to everyone online, please feel free to pop them into the chat function. Someone will try and answer them throughout the session. Otherwise, I will attend to it at the end during the Q&A section. If you do have any event-specific questions, I would suggest that you contact us separately, either via email or phone, and we can discuss those offline. So I'll start with an overview of the event partnership program. So the program is designed to provide financial support to free and accessible events that are held within the City of Melbourne. The program aims to activate Melbourne and create memorable, engaging and innovative experiences for both local and visitors. City of Melbourne categorises all events into tiers for the event partnership program to ensure that the application and assessment is equitable and reflective of the level of the investment. The 3 tiers for 2024 have remained the same as that of 2023. So our Tier 3 partners would have a funding request of between $10,000 and $50,000, Tier 2 partners from $50,001 to $100,000, and our Tier 1 partners anything over $100,000. Those tiers are based on a combination of cash and in-kind support if you are successful for both, so that would determine what tier you are in. We have put a briefing paper to Council to recommend that funding for 2024 is capped at $150,000 for cash only. It is still currently under review by Council and we should have an answer tomorrow. If this is approved, we will update the guidelines and send an email out to advise, but it just means applicants would not be able to request more than $150,000 in cash only. This will enable us to support and partner with more events next year as our budget hasn't changed significantly from previous years, and we feel that we would be able to spread that funding around a little bit further. You can see on this page that we've included a high-level overview of the main differences between the levels of funding. These are around attendance, market research, business engagement and sponsorship benefits. The full table of these tiers can be found in the guideline document. Moving on to program changes for 2024, we've tried to be transparent this year and we've introduced the visibility of how applicants are assessed at our end. So hoping that this will help event organisers determine the key areas to focus on in your application. So you can see there the different criteria and the weighting associated with those. So economic impact and attendance has the highest weighting when we assess the events through to the application standard at the bottom end. So when you're filling out your application, it's important to keep that in mind. We do find some people tend to spend a lot of time answering questions that may not be assessed that highly as part of the weighting criteria. So this would help you to decide where to sort of, I guess, put the most of your time into the application. Economic impact and attendance talks to the degree to which event increases visitation to the city, engages local business and provides a measurable economic benefit to the city. The event programming is the range of free and engaging programming that encourages active participation. Brand and marketing is the extent to which the event increases the profile of the city as a tourist destination and provides sponsorship benefits to council. Community involvement is how the event will actively engage with community groups and collaborate with traditional owners. Accessibility for all members of the community is also a key consideration. Event calendar alignment is how the event will sit within the city's calendar, delivering year-round events. This also includes uniqueness, date, time, and location. Environmental sustainability is how the event employs environmentally sustainable practices and reduces their environmental impact. And the application standard talks to how financially viable the event is and whether it will proceed with or without City of Melbourne funding. It also includes the level of detail and completeness of the information provided. Priority considerations that we look for when we're assessing events are visitation and spend. So Melbourne tourism expenditure generated by an event will be a key metric in measuring the value added to the Melbourne economy as a result of the tourism activities generated by a funded event. So we will ask for some economic detail within the application. Docklands is a priority precinct for City of Melbourne, so preference will be given to events that offer benefits to Docklands workers, residents and local businesses, particularly if it has all or part of its event within the Docklands. Winter is a priority season to activate in Melbourne, given there are less events on the calendar. And we also look at twilight events and late night activation to give city workers a reason to stay in the city and spend money. The allocation of funds can be either cash sponsorship or in-kind sponsorship. So in-kind is for events that would normally have to pay site fees for their event. Cash sponsorship provided by City of Melbourne must be allocated towards the free programming components of the event. Sponsorship cannot be used to cover core operational event costs such as salaries, wages and insurance fees. This is something that we have allowed during COVID. Obviously, times have been tough the last few years, so we were a little bit more lenient in allowing our funding to be used for core operational event costs, but that will stop moving forward into 2024. As part of your application, you're required to outline the minimum amount of sponsorship funding required to deliver the event to the scale that is noted in your application. While City of Melbourne endeavours to provide the sponsorship amount requested, this is not always possible. Should the minimum amount requested be too high and not representative of the scale, the request will be rejected by council. I'll now throw to Emily Halverson, who will talk to market research and visitation data.
Hi, everybody. So effective from 2024, all events will be assessed on their visitation and spend data. The data we require is as follows. So visitor point of origin, the percentage of visitors who visited for the event, the percentage of unique visitors to the event, that's specifically for multi-day sort of festivals, the length of stay for overnight visitors, and the total trip spend per customer. It's worth noting that events that have been run in the past are expected to include this data in their applications for 2024. But for new events or events that have never run before, it's not required. But once again, just to note that this will be a requirement for our post-event report should you be successful for sponsor. Your account manager will talk you through the process of how to obtain this sort of data with your market research surveys and etc. And once again, if you're a new event, this can also be discussed in further detail in our 15-minute consultation option that we have available. I'll now hand it over to my colleague, Amy, who will discuss sustainability and waste.
Thanks, Em. So sustainability and waste management is a key focus area for City of Melbourne. So all events must commit to reducing their environmental impact and improving waste management. In your application, please provide details of the event's sustainable commitments as part of the event delivery. So this includes, and these are the points noted on the screen there, encouraging the use of public transport to and from the event, providing recycling facilities, removal of banned single-use plastics, reducing your printed collateral, completing a waste audit report and establishing improvement targets. And dependent on your level of funding, waste data may also be required. Events will also need to implement a thorough plan on how to minimise waste at their event. Again, if you're unsure on any of these areas, your dedicated account manager can talk through these with you in the negotiation phase. And further information will be available on our website in the Sustainable Event Guide. The next point is event permits and POPE permit. So touching on the event permits there, if you'd like to hold an event in a park or an open space managed by City of Melbourne, you will need to submit an event permit application via our website and indicate that you're applying to the event partnership program. A minimum of 6 weeks notice will be required to process the application. And example areas of these spaces include Burring Ma, Docklands, Treasury Gardens, and Queensbridge Square, although there is a full list on the website as well. The event permits should be submitted prior to submitting your application for the event partnership program, and you'll be given a booking reference number and a quote to include in your application. If you haven't received an email from the event ops team with the value of the site hire fees, our team can add this in for you during our assessment process. It should also just be noted that if the site fees are entered by our team, this might have an impact on the level of funding you've applied for. So the value of the site fees may push you into a different tier. And all public event permit applications will incur an application fee, a site fee plus an authority to sell fee, if applicable. And not-for-profit or community organisations will automatically receive a waiver for these event permit fees. A quote for site hire fees does not constitute as an event permit. You must continue to work with the event ops team to submit necessary documentation required to obtain your event permit. And for further information, our event ops team can assist you, and their contact details are there on the slide, so you can contact them via phone or email. And then just lastly on the permits, we've got the place of public entertainment, the POPE permit. So a place of public entertainment permit may be required if you're organising a public entertainment event over an area of 500 square metres. The fees applicable will depend on the area of your event, and application timelines are dependent on the size and scale of your event. So there is a page on the website where all of this is located under the planning and building section. And applications should also be submitted by email to the planning and building team. Then we move on to the post-event report. So all successful events that receive monetary support from City of Melbourne are required to submit a post-event report at the conclusion of their event. So this must be submitted online via Smarty Grants. We won't accept it by email or anything. It has to be through Smarty Grants. And sponsored events are expected to provide evidence that all KPIs outlined within the agreement were achieved. And examples of this may include the event budget, copies of invoices, images to show that all sponsorship benefits were delivered, visitation data, and then images of different bins, etc., for the waste reports. It's great to keep in mind as you're planning and delivering your event, all of these aspects, so you have all the required documentation when you submit your post-event report. And then depending on your sponsorship tier, it's usually 4 to 8 weeks after the event that these reports are required. I will now I think I'm throwing back to Emily.
Thanks, Ames. Are we good on the echo?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. So if you've had a read of the guidelines and decide that your event isn't the right fit for the event partnership program, Or if you're looking for other opportunities within the council, you can also check out the City of Melbourne Council's other grants and sponsorship opportunities, such as the ones listed below here. It's worth noting that applications for the 2024 annual arts grants will open the 1st of May and will close the 13th of June this year. So that's definitely coming up. And then also a note that events that are already receiving support from another City of Melbourne sponsorship or grant program are not eligible to apply to the event partnership program. Some other options we have at the council are promotional support through our What's on Melbourne channel, which attracts 6.6 million unique website users annually. It is free to submit a listing for your event. And then also a council policy, not-for-profit / community organizations are eligible for a fee waiver of site hire fees for City of Melbourne managed spaces. Contact the event operations team if this sounds like something of interest to you at the email that's listed on the presentation. So just an overview of our next steps. So Event Partnership Program 2024 opens on Monday, the 1st of May, and will close on 4 p.m. on Friday, the 26th of May. Please note that late applications will not be accepted, so definitely make sure to submit your application by 4 p.m. on Friday, the 26th of May. And don't forget to apply for an event permit if you haven't already. Once your application has been submitted, you should continue working on your event. Recommendations are to be put forward at a formal council meeting in August for consideration and approval. Applicants will be notified in September as to whether they were successful in receiving sponsorship. This will also include which level of funding you were successful for. And then from here, you'll be allocated a partnerships account manager. Partnership negotiations commence generally around 3 months out from your event, unless it's a larger tier 1 event, in which case those negotiations could start a bit earlier. So if you have any sort of, as Lisa had mentioned earlier, if you have any sort of event-specific questions, we encourage you to book in a 15-minute consultation session by either sending us an email to our email listed on the presentation, or you can send us a message in the webinar and we'll book you in. We do have spots available for next Thursday, the 4th of May, between 1 and 4 p.m., but they are filling up fast. But other than that, now we will head into our general Q&A session. Thanks again for joining our Event Partnership Program 2024 webinar. And I'll now hand it over to Lisa to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you again. As mentioned, we'll just be taking questions via the chat function. So if you do have a question, feel free to pop it into that function now and I can answer it for you. Or as Emily suggested, we have this year started the individual consultations, which we haven't done previously. So if of interest, you're more than welcome to email us at eventsponsorship@melbourne.vic.gov.au and we can book in a one-on-one 15-minute chat with you to chat through your event specifics and give you any advice around the program and how that might work for you. We would also love some feedback this year if you're free to give it. We've redone our guidelines this year. We've tried to make them more user-friendly. We've also done similar with the application form. We know the application form asks for a great deal of information, but we have tried to make it as simplified as we can with the information that we need. So if you do have any feedback on the application process, we would love to hear it. You can send us an email with that as well. I've got a question from Blair at the Master Builders Victoria. So sponsorship is available for events that are either free to attend or have significant free programming, Blair. So we can support events that are completely free or events that are a combination of ticketed and free. The main part in the guideline is that the free attendance must be a minimum of 5,000 people. So if you're doing a combination event where some sections are ticketed and some parts of it are free, as long as there's 5,000 people expected to attend the free programming, you should be eligible for sponsorship. There's no other questions coming through at the moment, so I'll give it a couple of minutes. I'm not sure how fast everyone can type, but we are also recording this webinar, so we will pop it up on the website. You're welcome to share it with colleagues who couldn't attend or refer back to it if need be. As noted, our website, on the City of Melbourne website, there's a specific page for the event partnership program. You'll find links to our guidelines and a sample application form on the website. We do open on Monday, the 1st of May, hopefully at 9 a.m. if technology allows. So you'll have 4 weeks to submit your application. We have given access to the guidelines and application early this year. Previously, we've only had that information available when we open. So we've tried to give as much time as we can for you to kind of pull the information together that you'll need to apply, which has also then enabled us to do this webinar a week early. So you've sort of got 4 full weeks to get all of the information together and get your application in. As Emily said, it would be greatly appreciated if you did it before the final day of applications. We tend to get a lot in that last hour of the day, and would hate for you to have a computer glitch and it not come through. So if there's no further questions, I will wrap up. I will thank everyone for their attendance. As I said, we will upload this onto the website for you to take a look at. Our email address, again, is eventsponsorship@melbourne.vic.gov.au. You're more than welcome to send us any questions that you have or contact us. And as I said, we can set up an individual chat with you to chat further about your event. But thanks to the team for helping to pull this together today. And we look forward to receiving your applications and seeing what exciting events are planned for Melbourne in 2024. Thanks, everyone.